Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 291, and today we're going to be talking about the dreaded experience of getting laid off and how difficult it is to have to start over and to go through that experience. And at that time, I know we may want to crawl under a rock and feel super sorry for ourselves. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to try to talk about how to level up even though we're laid off. That's a tough one. So we want to start with empathy there, but we are going to jump into this. We've had a lot of clients experiencing this and just this climate, this time, administration, just life right now and post-COVID world. So before that, how are my wonderful co-hosts doing?
Muy bien. Aquí contentas de estar platicando juntas. Contentas, I said plural. I called myself plural. Contenta de estar platicando.
Tú puedes ser contenta o contentas, porque es con tas más énfasis. Y just glad to be here too. I am, in pain, but then happy. I'm having a terrible period, you guys. I'm having a terrible period.
Wait, todavía?
It's another one.
Oh shit!
Yeah. It's
ridiculous. I thought that was less than a month ago that you were saying.
Yeah. It's I feel like the last time we podcasted, I was on my period and it was terrible.
Yeah.
So
it was terrible.
This time around, it's even worse.
April did go by really fast. Yes.
Okay, not to lay off that conversation, but
periods.
We're going to pivot from periods to layoffs. I'd rather talk about periods. No, pero de veras, it's terrible. If you're going through this right now, this episode is somewhat for you. We're going to do our very best to be empathetic and go through our best ideas and thoughts on how to deal with the emotional roller coaster. But also, if this is not something you're going through, it's still a really good thing to listen to because you've got to be empathetic in this world with other people. I wanted to bring this conversation up because I just found out one amazing friend of mine, mi comadre, was laid off. She's going through it. I had sensed that she was quiet. My husband had sensed that her and her partner were quiet, and we invited them on a trip with us, and they were somewhat quiet. We were like, sir, it's not like them. But they just checked in. We're going to do dinner. We know now they've been quiet because of finances being what they are, and just what she called a brutal and disheartening post-layoff experience. So clearly she was laid off, maybe not expecting it, and now she's having a tough time getting back into the workforce and trying to secure a job. We all know a little bit about that, whether it's our own personal journey or with our clients that have been taking 6 months, 12 months, up to 18 months in some cases to land a job, believe it or not. So layoffs are real. They're happening again, super paralyzing to our economy right now. But I will say, if you know someone right now dealing with the layoff, ladies, what would you think is the best piece of advice you can give them for some hope at the end of the tunnel? Base it on maybe what you went through in that experience or your clients or just your own personality. What would you say to someone right now that if they woke up tomorrow and their job was gone, how would you give them some advice to appease the crazy?
Feel what you're feeling. It's fair because it sucks. There's times you kind of see it coming and there's times where you're just blindsided, and that when you're blindsided, you're just like, what? I've been in both situations where, I see it coming, and I was mentally prepared in a sense. If it happens, I'll be fine. And then I was blindsided, another one, right? So you have to feel what you're feeling, because I think many times that we allow, especially if we would have been in a career or in a job, not even, more like a job. If you've been in a job for a certain amount of time, it becomes a part of you. Even if we are you are not your job is not your identity, you are more than your title, you are more than this. We still go in and do that role on a daily basis, day in, day out, So it's ingrained in us. It's what we do, it's what we do. It's just, hey, what do you do? This is what I do. And it's really hard to be like, I am not that anymore. And we feel that we are less than, we feel that, why, we start questioning all kind of stuff. But it is really hard. It takes a blow on your professional confidence, you could say. It takes a blow on what can I do? What did I do wrong? And it's all these other things. It's like that breakup that you didn't see coming in a sense. But when it's done professionally, you're like, I've done everything I can to be the best employee or to be the best boss, but I still got let go, or I still was told that my job was no longer there. It really sucks. It's heartbreaking. It's a different level of heartbreak. because it's all you. It's what you've worked toward, right? It's what you've been able to accomplish independently as a, and something that you've worked toward your entire life. Everything we've told, like, do this, go to school, learn, then you get the job, and then you land the job, and then you get the other job you really wanted, and then like, fuck yeah, I'm living the dream, and then the dream is fucking crushed. So it is super hard. It's disheartening. It's heartbreaking. It really sucks, for lack of better words. But feel it. Feel it, process it, and the next thing you want to do is fucking dust your shoulders off, the fucking kneecaps, dust off your knees, like, okay, me caí, whatever. But you know what? I'm good. Let me reach out. Who do I remember that I had good connections with? Reach out to those people and be like, hey, I am no longer there, but I'd love to keep in contact, whatever. And then, like, just any professional context, don't just let yourself fall out of the game. If you do want to get back to work quickly, I would say don't fall out of the game. Update your resume. LinkedIn is like the new thing, but I would say don't just go on LinkedIn. There are traditional ways that you can, do if you're looking, like I would say for your comadre, update your resume as soon as possible. And there are great organizations, not even organizations, but like companies out there that help, they do like reverse recruiting. There's one that's called Reverse Recruiter. And you pretty much say like, hey, I need you to help me find a job. They meet with you and they say like, okay, what they do is they take your information, they find jobs for you. So like if you're quick to get on the market, those are now things that are so accessible. Before you had to be like, so do you know anything? But I say, feel it and then get back on it. Be like, okay, if you really want to get back to work soon, don't, maybe give yourself a break. If you're tired and you're like, I'm gonna take a break. But if you really want to get back to it, don't dwell on it. It wasn't anything that had to do with you. If it's just one of those layouts that we're just, cutting people, we need to, what is it called when downsize the department or downsize the company, just be like, hey, use it to your advantage. I was let go. I was laid off. They were downsizing. I am still great at XYZ. I'm your person if you need someone. So don't be afraid to do that. And yeah, I feel that, fucking feel it and then move forward from there. Yeah.
Y tú, Ceci, what would be your best piece of advice?
Similar to what Vero was saying, like if you can, mentally, physically, emotionally, and more importantly, financially, take a break. Take a break and like take this time to reassess. Like, do I want to go back to that line of work? Maybe I want to explore something else. And in the meantime, apply for unemployment immediately. Right? Para que empiece eso desde luego and you have that. Yeah, like Vero said, update your resume, do the LinkedIn, go the old school way, contact your, friends, colleagues, put it out there, join a community. I know us with the Guilt Free Squad, we've had these discussions multiple times, and we've seen women being let go and they chime in and they, show their feelings, and they also we're there networking, like, hey, what area are you interested in? Like, let me put you in contact with so-and-so. So join those communities, join those networks, stay connected. Even if you're going to take that break, like stay connected para que when you're ready to apply, you're ready to go back in the workforce, you've already kind of started that, connection somewhere else.
Thank you, ladies. That's really good advice. The only thing I would add, because they covered everything that came to mind for me, but the only thing I would add is that it sucks, but the reality is that you're going to lose your job. You're going to go through that phase that Vito talked about where you're going to feel it. You're going to feel crappy. And then Sissy talked about, and Vito talked about, like, getting back out there and figuring out, is this what you would want, and work on that resume and getting back out there and all that good stuff, and think about your finances and whatnot. The other thing is that finding a job is hard. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. When you're out of a job, it's going to feel even harder. It always feels a little easier when the boot's not there, the pressure's not there, and you're looking for a job when you're in a job, right? That's like the golden experience, and you get paid more and they're like looking for you. Maybe you're being headhunted. That's the golden experience. Well, you're going to go through the less than golden experience, the chafita little silver experience, and you're going to be without a job. And that is hard. And I want to acknowledge the reality. And while you're in the hard, I think what it was going to suck is because it's scary, and the instability, all that is real. The lifestyle change, the worthiness, we talked about in an earlier episode about worth and feeling unworthy, feeling unloved, all those feelings may come back. If ever in your life you felt not confident, getting laid off is a shitty feeling. Like Beto used the word breakup, I think. So what you're going to do, my advice is to jump back in and use that layoff time as time where you're still working. Because with all my clients, we talk about how because the job search sucks, you need to be looking for the job harder and longer than you think you need to be. You need to clock in every morning, work on it, leave the kids, work from another office, drop them off at the daycare if you can still afford it. Like basically you're still at a 9 to 5, but you're looking for your next 9 to 5. And it sucks to hear that, I know, but it is a numbers game and you have to treat the job search like a job. And that's the best thing I think that you can really do to at least control what you can control. With my clients, we're always talking about what you can't control, we can't worry about. What you can't control is just driving you crazy. What you can't control is out of your hands. It keeps you from resting. It keeps you from loving yourself. It keeps you from feeling confident. What can you control? Let's stop and figure out what you can control. When you're laid off, all you can control is the mechanics of applying to as many jobs as possible with that dope LinkedIn that you've updated, with that resume that you've updated. We do a lot of resume review as coaches at Level Up Latina. We do a lot of interview sort of mock situations. We will look at your resume. We will look at your LinkedIn. We will interview you. We will put the pressure on. We will simulate a panel discussion. We'll do all that work. And you may not have a coach like us at Level Up Latina, but your homegirls can do it. Your new friends on LinkedIn, because you're going to join all those little groups that you can join on LinkedIn with other women looking for jobs. I know we had a client in the GFS who talked about how she was just living and breathing LinkedIn. She was posting videos on LinkedIn. She was joining communities on LinkedIn. She was going to classes on LinkedIn. I think you girls know the girl I'm talking about. Like she was at her wit's end, like looking. But I feel she was treating the job search like a job. And estaba desesperada at the end, but she found a job in less than 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty impressive in this market. She didn't want to hear that at month 3 and 4 that, I thought you have great momentum. Like it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yet by month 5, ya estaba desesperada, right? But it landed because she was treating that time off. Everything. Got to do everything. Got to do everything. It sounds crazy. We're also saying take a breather, take a moment, reevaluate what you want and pivot and all that if you need to. But then during this layoff period, you do got to jump in aggressively, doing the mechanics of looking for a job, applying like crazy, having the resume be tight. And now with all these AI tools, like I think there's really no excuse. Like Canva's free and ChatGPT is free. You could probably get the mechanics tight. Then you, as the unfortunate laid off person, I'm so sorry, have to like grind every day because it's a freaking numbers game. And I am noticing that with my clients that are just clocking in and clocking out while they're laid off. They're just moving so much faster than other of my clients, unfortunately, who sometimes don't move as fast because financially they're kind of okay. Their husband's kind of okay, maybe handling it. They live it at home. Like it's not as, you can see like the people that are like, you know what, I can't afford. I have a little plan. I have an emergency fund. I can take some time. They don't put as much gasoline in that tank. And I think putting the gasoline in the tank, you can control, and it helps you to get your confidence back and to get your results faster. So those are our 3 coaches giving advice. The next question I have is, when's the last time you went through an experience like this? Whether you've had to lay someone off or you've been laid off. And what was it like? What was it like for you? We don't have to go into it too much because I know it's like a short podcast episode, but what were some nuggets from that journey of either laying someone off or being laid off?
I've been laid off, like you mentioned, twice. So that was, that journey. But I've talked about it in the podcast before. But recently, I've been with the current company 6 months now. Time flies, you guys. It took me a year to get back into the workforce after being away for 7 years. Yes, it starts getting, the money starts getting tighter. There's more responsibilities. Life is just more expensive. So I totally get it. But recently I had to sit in on a layoff of one of the leaders in our department. And it was just, one of those where it's like the position was being, the position was no longer going to be available in a sense. We're getting rid of that position. That position's been eliminated. We won't be replacing anyone in that role. And it was really hard because you start thinking like life is hard, who this person is, their responsibilities. And the thing is that it's nothing where it's personal, right? It's very much like matter of fact, and how hard it is to even share news. Hey, unfortunately, we are no longer going to be needing this position won't be longer in existence. So we're sorry, even though offering, hey, there is an option to stay on the team, but it would be, not in management in a sense. And just seeing that reaction because, these are people that have families. These are people that are relying on a certain, dollar amount to come in, right? And it's kind of like, oh man, that sucks, right? That really, really sucks. So the reaction wasn't, of course, no one wants to be let go or laid off or have to be like, hey, unfortunately, I cannot accept that offer because it's under what I need to make ends meet in a sense, right? So you have to be understanding of that. But it is really hard because then I feel that, it becomes personal to them. It's like, well, why are you guys letting me go? Why is my position being eliminated or no longer available? So it is really hard. It's very challenging to try to be like understanding or have them understand that it's really something that I can't control or the director can't control. It's coming from corporate where this unfortunately it's a decision that they're making to also cut costs or for whatever reason. I don't know the exact reason. They're just like, hey, we can operate without management in that department. So it's just, and the person had every right to feel the way they were feeling, right? Because you have so much uncertainty and you get to meet and know these people and you're just like, dang, they have so much going on. And just being like, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. At least if, hey, do you need if you need a reference or you need a good word, we'll put you out there. We'll do whatever we can. It's just something that's out of your control. And it's really hard, especially with times how they are right now, how hard everything's expensive and it's only going to get more expensive, right? You're kind of hoping to find a solution or find ways to keep your team or keep a team, but it's really hard and challenging.
It's super, super hard. I can think of the times that I've had to lay off people or let them go. And I've done it in times where I feel like I did it right. It was the right thing for the company. And we had all the documentation. And like you said earlier, Vito, like sometimes people see it coming. Like they know. They're probably like, if you don't fire me, I'm going to fire myself. Those layoffs are a little easier to come by. And people seem to not be blind to the fact, and that's how you know you've done it right. You've sort of had to write someone up, or they know it has nothing to do with them and the company's not doing well, and if you just don't have the money to pay them and they know that, like, you can go around it and tactfully sort of hopefully let people go in a way that they know, like, this isn't you or this is you, in some cases, because you're not blindsided. They've been written up for poor performance. But I've also been in the situation where people I felt didn't see it coming and they just weren't performing and they were oblivious to that. And so I just want to remind people of, how you're showing up at work. Like, you may think you have it all going on and you have it all together, but it's important to evaluate just feedback at your place of work from peers, from staff that report to you, from your actual directors, from volunteers even. Like, you don't want to be caught off guard. I remember having to lay someone off who just wasn't having good rapport with a lot of people, and we laid her off. And it probably wasn't a layoff. It was more like we let her go during a probationary period. She was going into her third month, and we reserve the right after 3 months to let someone go. And again, a good process system, like before things get worse, they're not working out, like we reserve the right to eliminate that position if it isn't working. The person wasn't working because their tact was not great, and they were actually being very offensive without realizing it to students, to volunteers, to staff. And I'm sure this person meant well. I'm sure they were oblivious. I'm sure they just needed coaching. So I wasn't going to obviously keep them and coach them and have a liability on staff. Luckily, we had that probationary period. But I had to meet with them. It was tough and say, we're going to have to let you go. And these are the reasons, and state those reasons. And there were things on there about like inappropriateness or comments that are made or, interpersonal skills, the way you're working with other staff. And the person just seemed so oblivious, like so caught off guard. And I just felt so heartbroken because I'm like, they clearly thought that they had a paycheck coming and they're like, I love it here, I love working here, I didn't see it. And it's like, oh man, they didn't see it. And I think if the person had gotten through the probationary period and we had looked the other way, eventually we would have been coaching and we would have let them know, and it would have been more meetings, and it would have been more trying to correct sort of their interpersonal issues. So sometimes layoffs, guys, believe it or not, you're going to hate hearing this, but sometimes they're doing you a favor and it's good, and you do not want to get strung along. You do not want to be in the bad job that isn't working out. Like, you want to get in and get out, and it sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks to get laid off. I've been on the other side of it where I felt like sooner is better than later, and they may feel kind of slightly thrown off. They haven't been here long enough to even feel like, well, really, I'm not a match yet. But knowing what we know and being in the business as long as we had been, and because there was multiple staff that had reported just an uncomfortableness, we knew like this is not a good cultural fit. This is not a good interpersonal fit. And we had to lay this person off. And it wasn't a layoff really. It was more of, I suppose it's a firing because it's just during the probationary period. But I want to remind people that you may be caught off guard. You may know it's coming. And also you may not realize in the moment when it happens to you that it's probably the best thing that could have happened to you. I hate to say that because like, yeah, it's easier said than done, right? And it's easier to feel that way. But sometimes you're being laid off because people are really doing you a favor. In the nonprofit industry, we know money and we know budgets and we know when the money's not coming and we know when an organization is not strong. So believe it or not, like you will dodge some bullets in some organizations that we watch people work for organizations that we know are tanking. We know things about their leadership or we know things about their funding. And it's like those poor people are working there without realizing, right? Like it's all about to come crumbling down. So sometimes you're laid off right before things get worse. And I know that sounds crazy, by the way. I know that sounds crazy, but like you saw it in the restaurant industry. You saw it during COVID. Like some people got to like lose jobs right prior to that and find a different industry, move around. They had just left that restaurant job. They had just left that salon job and then all shit went to hell. So sometimes that layoff is about to happen because something bigger is opening up for you or something worse is about to happen. So I like to think that in that time where we let someone go, that they were blindsided and very disappointed, that it was for the best to do it early and to let them move on and to stabilize because it's very destabilizing to lose your job. What about you, Ceci? Ever been through it or had to do that to someone?
No, believe it or not, no, nunca me ha tocado. Yeah, and right now it's like, with grants being cut, budgets being cut, like it's that world of like, what's gonna happen in the next year. I know with my own grants, we're like, okay, we're good for, we were told for the next 2 years, but it's like, again, with this administration, so it's like, it's out there, we're thinking about it, I think our organization, but then we also think like, oh, well, San Francisco is a sanctuary city, but does that even mean anything nowadays? Like, right now parece que están las cosas calmadas aquí, pero sí, no, gracias a Dios, no me ha tocado either to lay someone off or a mí. So hopefully así siga, pero si pasa, then we'll check in with each other.
I know, I hope not. And si pasa, that's going to be my last question before we wrap up. But like, what else to do during that layoff period? Some things that we haven't covered, and I hope to give you guys time to think of some other ideas. That what's an effective use of your time during that layoff period once you've sort of healed from it and started to treat it like a job while you're looking?
Girl,
I'd say one cool thing is side hustles. Side hustles. Like my husband has driven for Uber if he's had to. He's had his own business. He's done stuff on Fiverr. Like when my husband was in between jobs, he did all kinds of stuff. What else did he have to do during that period? A lot of consulting, a lot of like the consulting thing is amazing because you know a lot. So it's like, I will fucking suddenly turn into podcast editing genius if I have to for work, right? It's like, right? Isn't that a good example? Like I've done this podcast for years, edited it. If tomorrow things went awry, like y'all better believe I'm gonna have a profile on Fiverr and I'll be editing everybody's podcast porque sabemos algo. This is a really good magical time to pivot that maybe there's a side hustle that you should be doing. I could be a really good personal shopper. Like if the rubber met the road and I needed to like do a side hustle, like I'd be the first one buying people's groceries and paying it forward because I always have wonderful, hardworking people bringing my groceries to my door. So what's another effective thing to do during that layoff time?
Do things you've been putting off to do. Like, oh, if I didn't have to work today, I would do this. Or you know what? I've always wanted to do this, but I'm always working. That little list in your mind, put it on paper. Like, what have I been wanting to do, but I've put off because I work or because I work so many hours, I don't get a chance to go for that run, but to see the sunset, or to put my feet in the ocean. Like, Ceci, I love it that when I see pictures of when you run in the evening and I saw the girls at the water, like in the beach. Like, I miss that. Like, those are the things that I really enjoyed doing. So if anything, whatever you've put off and like, hey, doing, picking up my mom for dinner or meeting my friends for like a happy hour. It could be something as simple as that. Things that you've been putting off, reading that book, starting that diet, or starting that, whatever you want. I learn how to crochet. Whatever it is you've been putting off, make a time Make a time. Sorry, I laugh at myself for that.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Mario Luigi. Make time for it. Like, just give yourself, hey, you know what? Today I'm gonna give myself 2 hours to do this that I've been putting off, and everything else could be dedicate some time to to review and interview and apply. And this is my time to like learn this new thing I wanted to do, or the stuff I've been putting off. I would say do that, because there's those moments of having a break like that are very far and few between in our age, because either A, we're not prepared for it, or B, we really love what we do that we want to get back to it, or C, we cannot leave that job for whatever reason. So if, do the things like if you were like, hey, I'm set, I would say, even if you're thinking you're not going to get off, so even if you're not going to get laid off or you're not going to quit your job, make sure you have your money right, have some savings, because you just never know. And so you're not too stressed out if it does happen, and you give yourself some time with that. But do the things you've been putting off, dude. Like, there's so many things that I wish I would have done. And now I'm back at work and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do that thing I wanted to do,
Dude, but then you had like 4 kids.
I know.
That time
my
off. So
my
it's
time
like,
off was to have the kids, the things I wanted to do.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing.
That was my thing. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, do it.
Y tú, Ceci, what would you tell folks to do right now that are listening to this? They're like, girls, what am I supposed to be doing with myself?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, because I would be doing the same thing, like doing things that I was putting off. Like, I've been putting off right now? Like my garage, clean my garage. Es un desorden. I would be doing that. I have this painting that I started like over a year ago, and I haven't finished it, so I would just finish my painting. Yeah, just do my things around the house that I like doing that I don't really necessarily have time for. I would do that. Maybe do more running. Maybe maybe take Pilates, but then that's expensive. And if I didn't have a job, then maybe I'd go on YouTube and watch videos or something, like de ejercicio. That's free.
No, honestly, that's all beautiful things, because it's going to be hard. We know we're going to be in this period. Like, so not forgetting to have self-care. Of course, Ceci would remember that. Like, well, what am I going to do with that free time? I'm going to take care of myself. And sometimes that's the first thing we back burner. And I love that you said like free things on YouTube, and I'm still going to take care of myself. I love that. Go on runs and because it's going to be stressful and it's going to be a tough time, and you want to feel productive still. You want to definitely feel productive and help your confidence. I think that same YouTube is what we should use to keep our skills, like sharpen our saw. We have to keep upskilling. Like, we also don't want to feel like this period can get drawn out. It can be months and months and months, and you don't want to feel out of practice. So if you're on YouTube, like learning the latest thing that you want to learn about, anything that's like a buzzword. My son was just talking about how much he learns with technology. Like, he's in college and he uses all these skills. And my youngest, who is a freaking 7th grader, he talks about how ChatGPT creates flashcards for him on different topics and stuff. So it tells him exactly what to study for different topics. And he's like, man, it really helps me. And when I'm stuck on problems, I tell it, like, well, teach me. My son's using ChatGPT to get better at homework. So let's use ChatGPT to get better at anything, like anything that we need to learn more about. My husband has been sleeping on ChatGPT for years, and we were always telling him how good it was, my kids and I. And recently he was like, oh my God, I thought it was just like Google and it gives you like an article or just like, but it can teach you something. Because he would ask like financial questions, and then he would say, wait, but give me an example of that, or what if this changes, or this variant. And ChatGPT's been teaching back to him things that he found really complicated. He's a very good person with numbers and accounting and all that good stuff and financials. And ChatGPT is teaching him new things from very intense concepts that like CPAs know. So if you're laid off, you're sitting there learning. Wouldn't that be great? Running, right? Doing the thing you've been meaning to do. Finish the painting, finish the book. Really important to do that. So another final thing, now that we're really at the last minute of our episode, if you so happen to be in that bind right now and you have a little bit, you've reevaluated your finances, you can afford this right now. Something like the collective, something like GFS doesn't have to be with us. I don't want to be self-serving, but we do have a collective coming. So you don't have to be getting laid off or be laid off. Anyone can join our collective, but it's a good place to be. It's a good place to get moral support and to feel that confidence, to feel that productivity so that you can still feel like you're doing something during this time of suddenly no more work, right? That pattern goes away. What are you going to do with your time instead? So the collective is going to start on the 4th of June. So when you listen to this, we'll have a couple of weeks left to join. You can learn more at leveluplatina.com. It's a 6-week series. We're going to meet every Wednesday evening. It's going to be really accessible to women that are working and need to jump on after work or once they've put their kids to bed or, all that good stuff. And we're going to really talk about coming together as Latinas and being a support group to one another. It's like live coaching with action. It's 3 coaches instead of 1. It's a community. We have like a back end chat that we have that's a part of our collective so women can share ideas. And especially if you're laid off, like you're meeting a lot of women and you're giving each other support. The last collective we had, like women were really gassing each other up about their elevator pitch and pitching themselves, their social media presence, their Instagram, their businesses. Before we knew it, like women were accidentally like driving past people's businesses and just like, you don't know when you don't know, right? And suddenly it's, oh man, I know your company, or I've seen it, I've seen your Instagram, I've seen your videos. So that collective, that community is a really effective thing to do. So more of that. If you can't afford the collective, there's a lot of communities like that on old school Facebook, on new school LinkedIn. So I want to self-servantly say collective, but also say anything. Find your community. Listen to all these podcasts that we have. Anybody out there in the community like us that's giving you positive, beautiful reinforcement, empowerment during this difficult time, listen to the podcast, join the community. So that is it. That was a mouthful, but I need the collective. I didn't want to miss that. So until then, find out more information by sending us a DM on Instagram, Facebook. You can reach us. Our handle is at Level Up Latina. Email us, admin@leveluplatina.com is our email. And like I said, check out our website, leveluplatina.com, for everything collective, guilt-free squad, and the podcast. So all of the different services that we have to offer, as well as our affiliates. So check out our affiliates. We have a lot of different companies we partner with. And if you click on there, you might get a little deal. You might get some new stuff that you were meaning to buy anyway, and it helps set our company. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until then, keep marching on. You won't be out of a job forever. I promise. Las quiero mucho, muchachas. Thanks for being here.
Besos y abrazos.
Thank you. Thank you.
Level up.